In breaking developments that continue to capture national and international attention, authorities in Washington County have released a wide array of new details surrounding the shocking murder of conservative activist and media personality Charlie Kirk, a killing that investigators now describe as politically motivated and carefully premeditated by the accused gunman. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, whose surrender to law enforcement unfolded in an extraordinary and almost cinematic fashion, raising questions about ideology, policing, and the state of discourse in America. According to police documents, the suspect had been under mounting pressure after his parents recognized him in surveillance photos widely circulated by local and national media. His mother immediately identifying his face, and his father connecting the distinctive rifle to one he had personally gifted his son, leading the family to intervene quickly, convincing Tyler that resisting authorities or engaging in a shootout would almost certainly end with a SWAT raid and his likely death, a fear that investigators say he expressed openly to those closest to him. Rather than attempt escape, Robinson was persuaded by his parents and a trusted former law enforcement acquaintance to arrange what has now been described as a gentle and highly controlled surrender, during which he arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office late in the evening, unarmed, quiet, and visibly subdued, accompanied by both parents, with officers noting that he complied fully with instructions and required no restraints or use of force, a surrender that authorities chose not to stage publicly in order to avoid escalating tensions. Yet behind this controlled moment lies a disturbing chain of events that began days earlier when Robinson confided in text messages to his roommate, who has been identified as a transgender individual, that he had become radicalized over what he saw as political differences, telling the roommate that he could no longer tolerate the hate and influence spread by Kirk, a figure whose outspoken commentary has long stirred controversy across college campuses and online spaces, and that he had decided to take drastic action. The roommate, later interviewed by police, revealed that Robinson had openly admitted to preparing a firearm, selecting clothing to disguise himself, scouting potential drop points to stash the weapon, and even timing his movements in the week leading up to the shooting, steps that prosecutors say indicate deliberate premeditation rather than any sudden outburst, making the case particularly severe under Utah law. Investigators have since gathered DNA evidence connecting Robinson directly to the rifle and other materials, while digital forensic teams are combing through his online communications, encrypted messages, and social media history in search of extremist influences or collaborators, though early reports suggest the suspect acted alone. As legal proceedings move forward, Robinson now faces a battery of charges, including aggravated murder, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, felony discharge of a firearm, and committing violence in the presence of a child, with prosecutors already signaling their intention to pursue the death penalty, a move likely to ignite contentious debate given both the political profile of the victim and the young age of the accused. Community reactions remain deeply polarized, with supporters of Kirk mourning the loss of a polarizing yet influential voice in conservative politics. Students on nearby campuses expressing shock and fear over the idea that ideological disputes could escalate into assassination, and local leaders calling for calm while also warning about the dangers of unchecked rhetoric in the digital age. At the same time, questions swirl about law enforcement's handling of the case, with some praising the careful coordination that led to a peaceful surrender, while others ask whether a suspect with a different profile would have been afforded the same opportunity to negotiate with police. Political commentators across the spectrum have seized upon the case as evidence of America's increasingly fractured public square, where heated arguments about identity, culture, and ideology are spilling beyond debate halls and social media feeds into real-world violence, raising urgent concerns about the radicalization of young people and the role of family, community, and institutions in identifying warning signs before they turn into tragedy. Prosecutors, meanwhile, are preparing what they describe as a methodical and exhaustive case, vowing that no detail, from ballistics reports to the suspect's online footprints, will be overlooked as they seek to deliver justice for Kirk and his grieving family, who have called for prayers, unity, and a renewed commitment to civil dialogue, even in the face of profound loss. Ultimately, the story of Tyler Robinson's surrender, the chilling details of his confession, and the community's struggle to process a crime rooted in ideology serve not only as the narrative of a single criminal case, but also as a stark reflection of the tensions dividing the nation, leaving many to wonder what it will take to prevent such politically charged violence in the future, and whether lessons from this tragedy will be heard before another life is lost.